Hello everyone, it's Naz from nazislam.com, and in this video I will be showing you how you can create tables in HTML and render them in a web browser. So in order to create our table, so there is this specific HTML tag which is called table, and underneath this table we will have the different sections of a table. So a table can have three sections. If I want to write some comments, so I can do command and forward slash, which will give me a section where I can write some comments here. And here I just for our understanding, I just have the three sections, such as the table header, which will be denoted by the t head, table body, which will be denoted by t body, and table footer, which will be denoted by t foot. So in this way we can specify different sections of our table. So let's begin that to create a table for us. So I specify a t head, and inside of this t head we will th we will no, it's not, this will be actually the t head and not th. Actually, the difference I will show. So in this t head we will have a row, and in each row we'll have a t column. So this t column, so if you differentiate the header from the other columns, you can do like th, which stands for a the cells which will denote the headers of the column. So such as I can do like programming language, and I can have another th with framework, and I can specify another th with front end or back end. So at this point, if I refresh this page and t head, and underneath this t head I have a t body, and this will also have a row, specific row, and underneath this t row I will have three columns. So what I will be doing is that I will copy this, and I will have three td tags. And so for this programming language, right, so for the first column, the first column I will specify Java. For the second column, let's pick a framework of Java. So let's do Spring Boot. And if this is a front-end or back-end framework, so this is a back-end framework, so we will specify this back-end. And at this point, if we save this and we refresh our page, so we will be seeing that we have this specific header where the text is bold, so that you know that, so yeah, this is a specific this t head, th, and not the td. But for our the second row, we have this Java, Spring Boot, and this is a backend framework. At the same way, in the same way, I can specify another t row. So what I will be doing is that I will be showing you a keyboard shortcut where I can select these 5 lines, and I can do a shift and option, and I can press the down arrow, which will duplicate these 5 lines and will add this underneath our first row. So let's specify another programming language and a framework. Let's do JavaScript, and let's do a front-end framework of JavaScript, which is Angular. And this is a front-end framework. And let's specify another one. So I will be doing pressing the down arrow by pressing the shift and option key to make a duplicate, and I will specify Python, and a backend framework for Python is Django, and I specify this is a backend framework. So at this point I save this file and I will refresh this, so that I will be seeing that I have this like 3 rows, and for each specific column we have the expected output there. But like from like at this point of view, like you don't really see that, okay, so this is a table, even though like the columns are properly aligned and also the rows. But one thing we can do actually, that we can specify border around the cells. So in the previous videos we have seen that different tags actually have their own specific attributes. So a table has its attribute as border, and you can specify the border for our table. Say for example this is 2 pixel and a solid, we will have a solid border. I save that and I refresh. So you will see that we have border around the cells, which is pretty cool, right? Okay, so at this point let's add some more rows, such as I can specify other frameworks of JavaScript, such as React, which is a front-end framework. Another backend framework for JavaScript is Express. So we specify that Express, and if I save that and I refresh this page, so then we will see that we have the different frameworks for our programming language. One cool feature is that so we have this like three different rows for rows for this JavaScript, right? So one thing we can do actually for this item is that we can specify the how many rows this will span up to. To do that, so we know that we can do only one JavaScript for these 3 frameworks. So the way we do this is that we can have a row span attribute, and we can specify this will span up to 3 rows. And since this will span up to 3 rows, so then we don't need these anymore. So the way we can actually like delete this whole line by Command Shift and K. So this will delete the whole line for us. Okay, I save this file and I refresh our page, so that now you will see that this single item spans over 3 rows, which is pretty cool, right? Okay, so the next thing I want to do is that I can have also like make each column like span up to like 2 columns, such as like instead of Express there is another framework, like we all know that like there is a like Node.js framework of JavaScript which works as a like runtime environment for both um, server-side programming and front-end side programming. So we can actually specify another framework. So let's do that. Node.js, which is actually both, right? So this is a backend and as well as the front-end framework as well. So what I will be doing is that I specify both here, and since I'm specifying both and I want to make it span over two columns, I will like to have two other column here. So what I will be doing is that front end, and the next column would be backend. So every other row will have now two um, two columns for front end or backend. So let's do that. So this is JavaScript is a backend framework, so we'll specify no, and for the backend we'll specify yes. Angular is front end, yes, no, and React is front end, yes, and no. Express is a back end, so we will specify no here and yes here. And Node.js is both, which will span over two columns. So I can do call span 2. And Python is Django is a backend framework, and for the front end we are specifying no here, and for the backend yes. So at this point, if I refresh the page and try to look into that, so what we got here. Okay, so the first thing is that we want to update the table is that, so since we added a new framework for JavaScript, we want to span this JavaScript over 4 rows, so that it spans over 4 rows and the Node.js takes the place of this framework column. I refresh. So now we got programming language Java, JavaScript, and Python, and these different frameworks for this. So at this point, you see that we have like two different columns for front end and back end. So let's review that. So for Spring Boot is a backend framework, Angular is front end, React is front end, Express is a backend framework, which is good. Node.js we can use for both, and Django is a backend framework, which is, yeah, that's all what we expected. And you also see that the way we used this call span 2, so that this column takes 2 space. So at this point, can specify a footer for our table, which we will denote with tfoot, and this will also have its own row with a td, such as we can actually specify the tfoot, since this will have only one row, and which will, well, yeah, in the one row we'll have a td, and which will span over 4 columns. So I can do a call span of 4, and which will have I can do such as like pick your own. I save that and I refresh this page. So you will see that you have got a footer as well, which spans over 4 columns. And inside of a table, we sometimes add a caption actually. So um, the caption has to be the very next item after our table tag. Inside of our table tag, the very first item has to be the caption. We can just say that like frameworks let's say different types of frameworks, and I save that. I refresh our page, so you will see that we have a small title for our table. So like in real world development, sometimes like for a table we also specify a header for our table, but actually there are like different tags so that you can use to give it a title or specify the footer of your table. And also like we can add like different emojis or such as like if we want to add a like smiley face like after this, we can also like have a there are different codes for this, so such as if we search for like emoji HTML to get a list of the different codes. So let's say we got a search here, but let's do this emoji HTML. Let's do smiley emoji HTML so that we get some smiley emojis here. So let's say if we want to import this emoji in our table. So the way this works is that so you gotta paste that code there, and this will start with ampersand and a pound sign, and you gotta finish it end this with a semicolon. So since this is a like hexadecimal code which is a like 6-digit number always, so you got to start this with ampersand and a pound sign and the hexadecimal number, and end this with a semicolon. So if I save this and if I go back to our page and I refresh this page, you will be seeing that we got a small emoji as well in our table footer. Yeah. So yeah, in this video actually we learned about how you can create a table in HTML, and to specify a border. You can do like different kinds of borders, such as like 1 pixel or 2 pixel. You can specify there as well. So a lot of the things regarding styling you can do using CSS and having a different like separate styling files, but there are some attributes that also support styling, such as like this. We will be also learning about CSS in later videos, but um, in this video I showed like how you can create different sections of your table, such as like header, the body, the footer. Also the different rows can span up to multiple like rows, and the columns can also like span up to multiple columns in order to have a like better looking table for us. So yeah, in the next video we will be talking about some of the like resources of HTML, and also styling different elements. So stay tuned for the next video, and yeah, thanks for watching this video, and have a good one, guys. Bye.